Hey, what's up guys? It's Kirk from Lateflix Media. I'm really sorry it's been so long since I think the freaking Elf review is the last thing we put out. I was supposed to put out a Saving Private Ryan review with Tommy J. We're working on that. We recorded the first half of it and then we had to record the second half separately, so it's taking a little extra time to edit it. But that is coming. But I wanted to get this out of the way. I'm actually introducing a new series with this video, another new series. I have like 10 series going. It's called Rapid Reviews. And basically, Rapid Reviews are going to be trying to keep a review under 10 minutes and probably multiple films in one review. So today we're going to be doing Pig from last year with Nick Cage, directed by Michael Sarnowski. And then we're also going to be doing Spider-Man Far From Home.
Hey, I got something to say. I'm just so sick of hearing everyone complain. I know it's tough and I know there's pain, but hitting bottom is the only way to change. So I'll keep hustling, you keep struggling. Bitch, I'm humbling, keep mumbling. I'll keep doubling, you keep bluffing. You've got nothing, I'll keep hustling. I've seen a lot of people who don't know what work is. I've seen a lot of people who don't know what thirst is. I've had a taste of evil and tried to cure the sickness, but I just keep my head down and focus on the facts. I'm setting down gravel while you just follow the path. I'll lead them into battle while you're just too scared to act. I'll leave the knife right in my back. So I'll keep hustling, you keep struggling. Bitch, I'm humbling, keep mumbling. I'll keep doubling, you keep bluffing. You've got nothing, I'll keep hustling.
And then I just have my little review I'll do, and then we'll have a conclusion, and then we'll move on. Rob Feld is a former Portland-based chef turned reclusive truffle forager. Living in a cabin deep in the Oregon forests, he hunts for truffles with the help of his prized foraging pig. He sells the truffles to Amir, a young and inexperienced supplier of luxury ingredients to high-end restaurants. It's really great. The kid Amir is played by Alex Wolff, who was in Hereditary, and I think this movie he was actually better in than Hereditary, which is weird to say because he was freaking great in Hereditary, but this movie's really good, and the performances are very genuine and very heart-wrenching. You know, really, really good stuff. One night, Rob is assaulted by unidentified assailants as they steal his pig. He reaches out to Amir, who helps him locate a group of impoverished drug addicts suspected by another local truffle hunter of being the culprits. They claim to have given the pig to someone from downtown Portland. Rob and Amir drive to Portland and infiltrate an underground fighting ring run by Edgar, an old acquaintance of Rob's, who provides another clue on the whereabouts of his pig. And this scene is very dark, and I don't know what to think of it. I've read reviews of this film that say that it's like one of the most realistic depictions of the seedy underworld of the restaurant scene, which I was very not aware of at all. I was like, holy crap, like, do people do this to each other? But it's real. I mean, people really do this awful shit to each other, and it's depressing because they get paid. Like, they literally sacrifice their physical well-being for cash. It's sad. The following morning, Amir voices his admiration for Rob as a chef. Amir reveals that his parents had an unhappy marriage and says their happiest time was after a dinner at Rob's restaurant, before his mother eventually died by suicide. Following Edgar's lead, Rob asks Amir to secure reservations for themselves at Eurydice, a trendy Haute cuisine restaurant. In the meantime, Rob visits the house where he used to live with his wife Laurie, whose death compelled Rob to withdraw from society. And this is kind of, it's sweet, but it's also kind of creepy because Nick Cage, his character, he's like this crusty old, like, hobo-looking guy.
Crusty old, like, hobo-looking guy.
And I know you're not supposed to judge people, but the guy, like, goes up to a kid sitting on his own doorstep, and it's just weird to me. I'm like, this is a weird scene. I don't know why. Not that, like, he does anything wrong, but it's just a weird situation to have this kid with Nick Cage, and, like, I don't know. It was just weird. I was like, where are this kid's parents? Like, what's happening? At Eurydice, the restaurant that they're going to talk to the guy about his pig, Rob asks to meet with his head chef, Derek, a former prep cook at Rob's restaurant. Rob pointedly yet empathetically criticizes Derek for opening a contemporary restaurant rather than the pub he always wanted to run. Overwhelmed by the memory of his dream and the reality of his current circumstances, Derek confesses that Amir's wealthy father, Darius, was behind the theft of his pig, having learned of its existence from Amir. Rob angrily ends his partnership with Amir before going to confront Darius at his home. Darius promises him $25,000 in exchange for the pig and threatens Rob with the pig's death should he continue his pursuit. Amir visits his comatose mother in a care facility, revealing she is still alive. So this was kind of crazy to me. I was like, wow. This kid tells people that his mom is dead because he can't deal with the fact that she's a veg. You know, she lives her life in a medical bed, you know, and he can't come to terms with that, so he lies to others about it, and that's a very real thing that I thought, I don't know, I just thought that was a cool little character detail, and it tells you about who he is as a person, it tells you about how he deals with grief, and it tells you what his family's been through, you know, just that situation and how it's written, it tells you a lot about the situation and what you need to know. He goes to Darius' home to offer Rob a ride, who admits that he doesn't need his pig to hunt truffles since he uses the trees, but wants her back because he loves her. This, to me, was kind of what I expected all along. Whenever he says that he doesn't need the pig, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, see, I get this movie. Because, yeah, it's not about the utilitarian nature of the relationship with the pig. It's the fact that that was the only other thing that made him happy after his wife had passed, you know, so he was very much attached to the pig. He asks Amir to gather a list of items in order to retrieve his pig through different tactics. Rob retrieves a baguette from his former baker, while Amir sources special ingredients, including a bottle of wine from Rob and Laurie's personal collection held at the mausoleum containing Laurie's ashes. After sneaking back into Darius' house, Rob and Amir cook and serve dinner to Darius, the same dish and wine pairing that Rob prepared for Darius and his wife years earlier at his own restaurant, the instance that Amir tells him about. An emotional Darius leaves the table. When Rob follows him, Darius confesses that the junkies he hired for the theft had mishandled the pig, resulting in her death. Rob is obviously devastated. This, to me, was the gut punch of the movie. It was like, holy shit. Do you realize what you just did? Like, do you realize what you just said to this guy? Because, like, you know, to your average person, it's like, okay, it's a pig, like, whatever, it was an animal. Like, of course it's sad, but, you know, that happens. But to Nick Cage, to his character, I should say, that was everything. That was his world. That was his reason for living, was like just hanging out with this pig and like living his life with this pig. It's a very weird relationship, but for whatever reason I can identify with it. I don't know why, because I don't really keep animals myself, but I guess I can understand someone connecting with an animal more so than a human in a time of grief, I guess. So, a remorseful Amir drives Rob back to a diner near his forest home. Despite Amir's carelessness, Rob decides to resume his partnership with him. Returning to his forest, Rob washes his bloody face in the lake before returning to his cabin to play a tape that Lori recorded of herself singing Bruce Springsteen's I'm on Fire to him for his birthday. I didn't feel like I fully got it until the end. When he starts playing that tape and you hear the lyrics that I don't even want to say because it's going to make me cry, but when you hear the lyrics of that song and you relate it to what's just happened to Rob, you get it. You just fully get it. It's there, and it's like, it's perfect because it waits till that last little 2% of the movie to like be like, okay, here we go. Like, here it is. And I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was. These two movies are the two ends of the spectrum of my favorite movies of last year. Pig was a much more chill kind of melancholy drama, but then Spider-Man was like the cool, fun, entertaining, big movie, you know, and that was really good too, and I like that. I'm going to try to get through this really quick. So my official review. This film was a dark horse because of its predisposition to be both goofy and revenge-driven. Fortunately for us, the audience, and for the film itself, it was not either of these things. Cage has turned in a lot of shit performances, and maybe he was given a great script. He was certainly given a great script by the writer-director Michael Sarnowski. Shout out to you, dude, you killed it. But he really went for broke with this one. The cinematography and atmosphere are immediately both present and accounted for. The beginning is shot so darkly it immerses us in Rob's house, woods, and world. A good portion of this film is dedicated to forcing Rob's perspective onto us, making us see the world as he sees it. This is important for real life and for... So my official review. This film was a dark horse because of its predisposition to be both goofy and revenge-driven. Fortunately for us, the audience, and for the film itself, it was not either of these things. Cage has turned in a lot of shit performances, and he was certainly given a great script by the writer-director Michael Sarnowski. Shout out to you, dude, you killed it. But he really went for broke with this one. The cinematography and atmosphere are immediately both present and accounted for. The beginning is shot so darkly it immerses us in Rob's house, woods, and world. A good portion of this film is dedicated to forcing Rob's perspective onto us, making us see the world as he sees it. This is important for real life and for filmmaking as it implies and invokes empathy. The tape is believed, at least we're led to believe, to be from Rob's Lori. It's so sad the night the pig is taken, she is upset by something just outside the door and tries to tell Rob. Before he can do anything about it, the druggies come in and take her. Building his relationship with the pig from the beginning made us feel when the pig was taken from him. If I had to point out any flaws, it would be maybe giving us a few more moments with the pig so we feel it even more when Rob is desperately trying to stop the tweakers from taking his friend. It's amazing the makeup and blood Rob has on him. He never washes it off until the end of the film. It's not every time I see a film that I'd like to immediately watch it again, and especially not this sad of a film, because this is a very, very sad film. However, as is with most quality Nick Cage performances, this was an exception. Absolutely one of my favorite movies ever now. Now on to Spider-Man! We're back, guys. Now we're going to be talking about Spider-Man No Way Home from this past year. Directed by John Watts and starring Tom Holland, Zendaya, Alfred Molina, Benedict Cumberbatch, Jacob Batalon, Marissa Tomei, Jon Favreau, Willem Dafoe, Jamie Foxx, Thomas Hayden Church, and many, many more, because this movie is full of characters. Alright, now for my intro. This time on Spider-Man Endgame, this episode of Quantum Pete. Have you guys seen the new Spider-Man? In all honesty, this is a creative and entertaining flick that has a plot never done before and answers a lot of questions about Spider-Man and his villains. Such as, what would happen if Spider-Man could Bluetooth to his villains? Who would Peter turn to if everyone found out who he was? Can a person redeem themselves for their past? It's a little bit of a, just life question. Now for the synopsis. With Spider-Man's identity now revealed, our friendly neighborhood web-slinger is unmasked and no longer able to separate his normal life as Peter Parker from the high stakes of being a superhero. When Peter asks for help from Doctor Strange, the stakes become even more dangerous, forcing him to discover what it truly means to be Spider-Man. So this is going to be major spoilers.
Major spoilers.
I only put actors that we knew were in the movie from the trailer. So if you have not seen the new Spider-Man, I didn't just spoil anything. That's all actors we knew were going to be in it. There are a ton of people that are in it that, not a ton, but there's quite a few people in it that people did not have any idea were going to be in it, so that's pretty cool. I'll get into just kind of my general thoughts. I'm not really going to get into the plot of this one because I don't really want to get into crazy spoilers. I'll probably spoil a few things talking about my opinion, but really this is a movie that you really just should go see, or you should rent when it comes out, available to rent. It's super entertaining. So again, major spoilers. This is kind of just my general thoughts. I really enjoyed the film, seeing it first at a matinee on the Thursday early premiere with my sister. I half expected to see Andrew and Toby, but never thought they'd get cute and subtle with it. I also adore the fact that the film is about helping villains be their normal selves again and not some villain of the week crap. I liked that the film took this different type of approach to a superhero film and was like, what if we don't have him fight all the bad guys? What if we have him try to bring him to the good side, and try to save them in a way. And I love that because it's very much in Spider-Man's character, and it's so much like the comics to have him want to forgive and want to heal people, because that's just who he is. Of course, special accommodations to Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina, who absolutely nail their otherwise nostalgia-bait characters, because if it were any other actors, I would probably be standing here bitching about oh, it's just member berries. And maybe I'm a sucker for the nostalgia. I don't know. Those were my Spider-Man movies, but it was just really cool to see them again. And I thought they both did a fantastic job bringing Doc Ock and Green Goblin back to mainstream villainy. Getting these two actors, I guess, originally should be credited to Sam Raimi, but it was immensely smart for them to bring them back for this film. The intro to both Andrew and Toby was super fun and a true to comics way to do it. So the bit where they bring in the two OG Spider-Men and have them kind of interact with MJ and Ned and Ned's grandma is awesome. It's so cool because a little portal opens up and you see a Spider-Man standing there, but it's Spider-Man, so it's like, are they just seeing Tom Holland? But then he looks over and you're like, wait. Then you see it's the Amazing Spider-Man, and he swings in, lands, and he's standing there, and you're like, wait a second. And then he takes his mask off, and it's Andrew Garfield. So it was a really cool little reveal, a cool little build-up to showing us that we're going to have all three Spider-Men in one movie. So it was really exciting. This film, above all, like the Suicide Squad from earlier this year and Shazam from a couple years ago, feels like a comic book film. Tom Holland's performance as Peter and Spidey is just as rich and youthful as it always has been, and even before getting to the symbiote, Peter has a bit of a bitter/dark bit in this film. The symbiote, if you're unfamiliar with Spider-Man, is the fuel for his dark streak in the comics. So it's kind of what makes him explore his more edgy side, because they wanted to make Spider-Man more edgy. So when our Peter, Tom Holland, finally starts grabbing villains, Strange gives him an enchanted outfit that both looks awesome and has insane abilities. When Andrew and Toby teach him about not becoming bitter and staying like good old Spidey, that was truly spectacular. I loved every bit of their little like dad's talk to him. It was so cool that they got to mentor, our Spider-Man now. So I love the little bits with Strange and his explanation of what was happening with the spells and incantations. The best part to me of having Green Goblin back, it was the best film appearance of Green Goblin. He was lethal, deceptive, and above all, evil. And it was cool because they gave him sort of a tattered look, but then it was also a reference to his older look with the purple and green, you know, in the comics. But in the end, the three Peters still turn Osborn back and free him of the Goblin's voice. It's mission accomplished, you know. I just wanted to add in a few notes I had for the film before we get to the conclusion. I love that Michael Giacchino, composer, referenced both the Raimi and Amazing Verse themes. And by doing so, referenced Danny Elfman, who will be scoring the new Doctor Strange film directed by Sam Raimi also. So that's going to be Doctor Strange 2. So in that film, he's going to be referencing Michael Giacchino's music from Doctor Strange. So I just think it's really cool that Giacchino referenced him, and then now Danny Elfman's going to be referencing Giacchino. So just a movie nerd, or a music movie nerd thing. Giacchino composed some original themes for Doctor Strange in the first film, but waived his composing position on the sequel to Elfman. Now the master will be referencing Giacchino's themes. Can I just take a moment and say I loved how Andrew and Toby were introduced? I know I talked about it earlier, but the set piece of the two side characters looking for other people to come and help the situation, and then having Andrew swing in out of an alleyway was just perfect, because that little bit that you see of the Amazing Spider-Man is totally... It looks like a scene from that movie, the little alleyway and the way they lit it and stuff. So it was almost like he leapt out of one of those films and came into this one. Then having Toby enter out of costume, I think, was a hair underwhelming. But I wonder if they did it to tease you as to whether or not he was going to suit up. But it's like, if he's in his movie, he's going to be fucking Spider-Man. Molina is just as powerful as the great Doc Ock always was. And Defoe brings back his black-hearted personality and that iconic Green Goblin voice. I love the "You're amazing" bit because, you know, for obvious reasons, I think all the nerds in the theater were just like, oh my god, you know. I really like the nanotech bit where the nanotech from Peter's Iron Spider costume goes on to Doc Ock, and then that's when it kind of assimilates Doc Ock's technology, so Spider-Man can literally Bluetooth to him. It's crazy. There's so many sequences in the film that a Spidey fan could just pluck out and enjoy all on its own, just as a scene. So as a film, I think this is one of the great love letters to Spider-Man fans for sure. The conclusion: No Way Home is due to entertain and enthrall with stunning visuals out of Inception, Doctor Strange, and other mind-bending films, and the story and heart of a Spider-Man comic book. The nostalgia is earned and properly set up with the inclusion of the Raimi and Amazing Verse villains, and the story is sure to intrigue and satisfy. The performances and abilities of the characters are heightened, partly due to the climax of the end of a trilogy, but also because these characters are becoming experienced. I really enjoyed this film, and I'd gladly give it an 8.5 out of 10, just as I did the first time I watched it. It's spectacular. So I really appreciate you guys watching. I hope you guys got something out of my reviews for these two movies. These are probably my two favorite movies of last year, just on the like I said earlier, the two sides of the spectrum. I wanted to give you guys some coming soon stuff because we have a lot of stuff planned for this next year. We're going to really try to hype up our content. We're going to do a few more double feature duties. We're going to be doing 12 Monkeys and Looper. We're still working on the Apocalypse Now Full Metal Jacket one. And Saving Private Ryan. We're doing a lot of war shit recently. We're going to be doing those. We're going to be putting those out soon. We've done them. We just have to edit them. So yeah, another double feature duty. We'll be doing Flash Gordon and Dune from 1984. We'll be doing Mars Attacks and From Dusk Till Dawn. And we're probably at some point going to do the Lord of the Rings trilogy because I just showed Tommy J that and he's really into it. So we might just do a podcast all about Lord of the Rings. So we're going to review Willow, Dragon Slayer, Pan's Labyrinth, and The Dark Crystal, among other fantasy films for Fantebuary. We were going to do Dramuary for January, but we just ran out of time. But for February, we're going to be doing a lot of fantasy stuff, so that'll be really exciting. And I really hope you guys are having a good new year. I've been doing really good. I started a new job, so I'm pretty excited about that, making a little more money. Hopefully we'll be able to put some more money into the channel. I'd really appreciate y'all coming back every time, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment and like and share and subscribe.